my name is Melissa, and welcome to Mish Mosh Soup, and say hello to my random stream of consciousness. Once again, we have Franklin with me today, and
hello everyone,
aka the classy queer. But yes, so I guess we'll
get into the soup.
We're gonna go stir that soup. So how have you been, Franklin?
I've been good. I've been delicious. How have you been?
Oh my goodness! I've had problems with the cat.
Your door just opened by itself.
Ooh!
Was that the cat?
It was the cat. Yes, my cat opens doors.
Speaking of cats, how was Meowface and how was
Graybeard?
I was gonna say Blueface.
Meowface. Oh, Meowface is.
Isn't that some name for a cat, Meowface?
Yes, actually, his name was officially Furface, but we just call him Meowface, and it just kind of stuck, right? Meowface.
And then Graybeard. Oh, because he's a Russian blue.
He's a Russian blue, and of course, Steve loved that name. He says he's a pirate, but he's not a pirate. He's a Russian blue, and I said, arg. He goes, arg. I'm like, no, arg. I said, he's a Russian.
Speaking of...
Spetsiva.
Oh my gosh. I can just imagine, if you were to give a voice to Graybeard, that would be his voice, I think.
He'd say, da.
He'd be from Moscow.
My name is Graybeard, and I'm from Moscow. And he's like, Steve says, no, he's not. He's a pirate. I'm like, he's a Russian.
He's something. He's a big boy is what he is. He's a thick boy.
He's a thick boy, but let me tell you, he's got the tiniest meow, right?
Yeah, yes.
Or big. It's like
you would think that cat would be like, rawr, but it's.
He's like, that's what he does. He's like 14 pounds.
And a 20-pound cat at that.
No, he was weighed a few months ago.
Your dog, he's basically a small dog. Your cat weighs more than my dog, and he's 11 pounds.
He's got a Shih Tzu.
Yeah, I do have a little... He's old. He's a 16 or 17-year-old Shih Tzu with one eye. Named Teddy.
And he's got one eye. He's deaf.
He's the real pirate.
He's deaf.
He's blind in the one eye he does have, and he's going deaf, but...
Oh my God, that poor dog. I see him, when I go over, he'll be walking around in circles,
yes,
and I'm like...
Because he doesn't know he has no orientation whatsoever. And
I'm like, Daddy, come here, please. But yes, he's living the life. Let me tell you.
No, your cats are living the life with as much as they eat.
Well, they're only given breakfast and dinner, but Teddy has. I mean, he's got like luxurious beds, and
so he's very well loved and spoiled, and actually
he gets more dental work than most humans.
To a fault. He's spoiled to a fault. Like, he will demand his food on the times that we feed him. Yeah, it's 12 o'clock. Y'all need to feed me.
You're like, excuse me.
Yeah, so he knows when his feeding times are. And so we feed him. We love him. And actually, he just got a...
Clean bill of health.
He got a clean bill of health. His thyroid level was just below the normal range, but just barely. The one thing that was of concern, though, was that he was underweight. So for the longest time, he'd always been at 11.5. This last time that we went, he was 9 pounds. So that was like, oh, he's underweight, and make sure y'all keep up with that. But I will say this, we had only fed him up to that point once a day.
Yeah, and I was like, what?
No, but that was the recommendation from the vet for so long, was that once a day, and that's what kept him at that 11 pounds. But as he got older, he wasn't able to
Hashtag I'm hungry.
But hey, that was the vet's recommendation, so we followed it for the longest time. And then so finally she said, yeah, I would up his meals to 2 times a day.
Oh, and he was like...
He was living.
He was like, woohoo, I've got to...
I can live my thick boy dreams.
He's like 12 and 5. 12 and 5. and roof roof when it's.
But yeah, he's a sweetheart, and I love him.
I know when I went to visit him last week, I was like, whoa! I picked him up. I'm like, whoa! He's got some heft.
I weighed him today, and he is actually just under 12 pounds. So
boy, he's really living that life, man.
We took him from 9 to 12 pounds in a matter of a week and a half.
Almost, and Manny makes his food.
Yeah, we do. Well, I don't make the food. You're right, because I'm not the cook.
If it was up to Franklin, I'd give him burritos.
I make a terrible housewife. I do not cook whatsoever.
Yes, he doesn't.
But Manny does make his meals from scratch. He will do like chopped up chicken, or he'll use the food processor. Mm-hmm. But he'll cook some chicken, cook some
rice.
No, not rice. Carrots, a little bit of broccoli, green beans. Some squash and pumpkin sometimes, and he'll basically just all
Sweet
process it together.
Potatoes are good for them too.
Yeah, so the vet did say that vegetables were good because it helps kind of add fiber into their diet.
He can have a healthy poop.
Yeah, and he does. He has healthy poops. The other thing of concern though was that he did have a little bit of blood in his urine. It's not the case anymore, but at the time she did notice that, and we think that he may have some bleeding tumors. But that's something that as you get older as a dog that could happen. So we're looking into that.
Kind of hemorrhoids.
We actually were taking him to a urologist, I think next week.
The dog has more specialists than I do.
He really does. And then we're going to take him to an optometrist to see if we can take care of his cataract. So yeah, he sees a doctor more than I do.
If I was his owner, luckily I'm just the grandma, but if I was his owner, I'd be like, yes, and now can we go to the psychiatrist for me? Because I'm depressed. I just paid $1,000 in vet bills and specialists.
But that's why you got to have that pet insurance. It does come in handy.
Yes, and what people don't realize is that you pay it up front, but you get the money back in like 3 to 4 days. Yeah. So
that's if you're on top of making that claim.
The claim, yes, exactly. But other than that, it's been good. And so Meowface is here. He's
joining us in the studio.
He's our little mascot. He's in studio with us. Yeah, if he can just.
So if you hear a little meow.
No, he doesn't. He goes, "Arr." That's how he meows. He doesn't have that dulcet tone that Graybeard does. He's like, "Arr."
Oh my gosh, speaking of Meowface, for the longest time, y'all did not know his gender or her gender.
No, a friend of ours said it's a girl, and I'm like, no, it's a boy. It's like, it's a girl. It's like, no. So I felt like an idiot. When I went to his physical, his yearly physical, I told the vet, can you sex him? Because
we got two people here who don't know.
I know we've got opposing opinions, and I say he's a boy, but then this friend of ours says swears that he's a girl, and so he looked at me kind of like, okay, after the initial, that judgmental look, like, really? He's like, he's a boy. I'm like, I knew it because
but for a while there, you and Lee were like, oh, we don't know what their gender is.
He's an enigma. But it's like, and then Lee was like, but that explains why he's so, loving. And he does have like a slender face. And he's just more effeminate than most male cats. But
he's a cutie.
He's very loving to me. But one thing he does is he dribbles because, he's so into the massaging you.
Like he's doing right now.
And then he'll be like, he's like, slubbers. It's like, oh no, because they get that slob, the saliva flowing because they're so into the massage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't, please. And boy, his breath smells.
Oh gosh, no.
I have a toothbrush. I bought a special toothbrush and special.
But they always fight. Even Teddy fights back.
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, this one has fangs, so it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna risk getting my finger decapitated by him because I'm trying to brush his gums. It's like, have at it with your bad breath and
with your halitosis.
I give him greenies and wish and hope for the best. But other than that, I wanted to talk to you about on the news. They just had announced one of the largest metropolitan cities, Los Angeles, was going to be launching, the UBI. They were going to do a little study on universal basic income.
Not UIB, which is unemployment insurance
benefits. Yes, UBI. But and also then Atlanta, and I believe it was Atlanta and New Jersey, and these are cities within the states. So yeah, Georgia, a town or a city in Georgia, a city in New Jersey.
Alaska kind of has a UBI thing.
Well,
going.
Yeah,
they get a stipend.
They get the permanent. It's the PFD.
Yeah.
And it's basically.
But it's kind of like a UBI.
Well,
Not quite.
Well, no, actually, it's dividends. It's dividends from
the oil,
the pipeline. So what happened once is Alaska did what they actually did right by their people, and they say, you know what, we put all this money from oil revenue from the pipeline into the bank, and we're gonna give every resident a yearly. They get it once a year. I think they get it in October, and it varies from
on
1,600 to like 2,100. It can vary.
Well, maybe that was a poor example then, because if it's a yearly thing,
it's a yearly thing, and people generally. And this year because of COVID they had given it early. Usually they get in October, and I know this because I watch a YouTube family that lives up there, and they were like, yeah, we got it in July, and everybody in the household, they're a family of 5, and each of them get that money, that $1,600 to $2,100. And all you have to do is live there for 12 calendar months to
be qualified.
To qualify. And people, like they said, that they saved up their money when they were little, and they used it for their wedding, and like they're saving it for their children so that they can use it for college or for a car or for whatever they want to. It's up to them to decide how they're going to spend it. But yeah, a few cities in some states are gonna start doing their own trials, and they're gonna test to see how it works.
I think that's so cool. I know other countries.
Isn't it it was up in the Scandinavian countries?
I know some European countries do a form of universal basic income. I personally like that idea. I like the.
Oh gosh, I can see the emails flying into my inbox. Bunch of socialists. But now, you know what?
Well, here's the thing with universal basic income. It's supposed to keep everybody outside of the poverty limit. So that way we all have equal access to have a comfortable life. Because that is one thing that, depending on where you live in the U.S., poverty is a big thing. Like Los Angeles, they have Skid Row.
Oh,
yeah, like that's a bad issue that they have there, and that's just an isolated place. It's
unfortunate,
But homelessness across the country is terrible, and universal basic income just ensures that everyone will be able to live above that poverty line and have access to be able to not just have that sort of monthly check thing, but then if they want to have another job to kind of offset or to be able to purchase like the material things that they want. And that kind of stimulates the economy as well, because now you have more money going into the economy.
Actually, the World Bank Organization in 2013, they did a study. And they, because the misconception was that if you give everybody and it was, I think the figure was $1,000. They had done a few test runs in some countries. I don't want to speak out of turn which country, but I know it was a Scandinavian country. But they saw that they said, well, the misconception is that poor people are going to spend it on booze and cigarettes and drugs. And when they finished this study, they found that the people that
wasn't the case.
That wasn't the case. That actually, what they saw, that the more money you earn, the higher up in the economic scale that you are, you spend it on lots of luxury. And for the most part, drugs and alcohol are in some circles considered luxury, and that whereas the people that were lower on that economic scale, they spend it on
bettering
themselves,
getting an education, maybe.
Yeah, because what the problem is, that's just like another form of welfare. But the thing is, no, it's not, because the universal basic income comes without strings attached, and it's guaranteed to you, regardless of what you do. And whereas the welfare system is designed to keep you in poverty, because just think of it, you make just $1 over that economic threshold.
Yes.
And everything is taken away from you.
That way you're back in the poverty that you were trying to get. Just for being over $1 that income limit.
Yeah, you lose everything. You don't get to keep it. You lose it all. And
there's no sort of transitionary period.
No, there isn't. So it sends that message, since, well, I'm going to do the bare minimum to just, to
keep the benefits that way, because for some people that's all they have.
And the rules are the strings are so bendy that they are designed, they literally will have, they'll have like these stipulations, like you have to do so many work searches, and after so long you have to take whether it's a perfect fit for you or not, because let's face it, who wants to do a job that they're not happy in?
But at the same time, it's like they will pigeonhole you into, you're not going to take this job that was offered to you, take it or leave it, but without even considering that as a person's household situation. What if that person has kids that they need to look after, or that they need to have childcare for? It seems very rigged against the common folk. Yeah. You don't. There's no transitionary period to where you're weaned off of that. Like we were saying, $1 over that income limit, it's all pulled away from you. There's no we see that you have a job now. Well,
we'll keep it for a year.
We'll keep it for a year, but you're going to get slightly less. And we would know this because you and I, we both work in the public sector. And so
we work in social services, so we see aspects of this.
Yes.
We see firsthand.
And I can see, and looking at the research and just the topic of a universal basic income, I can see how that would really help a lot of people who are under that poverty line, because now they can look for that childcare that they need,
or they can take night school to get that certificate so that they can apply for that job.
Even a GED.
Yeah, a lot of people
can go back to school and get an education to get that degree that they wanted, therefore opening more
opportunities.
Possibilities in the job market. Also, you have a lot of jobs now that are being automated. A lot of jobs are being automated, therefore there's no need to keep a large amount of people on the roster. So you basically have, for example, to run a tech business, you only need 10 people. Yeah. Versus, let's say, a factory where you need hundreds to assemble something. So the more and more that we get into the whole tech world, and the more that we automate certain jobs, you have more people who don't have jobs, and so it actually kind of pushes society to have some sort of a universal basic income, because you still need to stimulate the economy. You still need to have people spend that money, or spend money somehow. And so if you are somebody who happens to have, a pretty reasonable job, you get this check, then now you're able to stimulate the economy by buying the material things that you want. Yeah.
Getting that new iPhone 55 or that transports you to an alternate reality.
Now, there is the whole thing about, well, where are we going to get the money for this? Who's going to pay for that? Well, if you look at the data and who doesn't pay their taxes, you have the top 1% who will do anything to avoid paying taxes, or as little to no taxes as possible. Let's start there. Let's start with not
Jeff
spending
Bezos.
so much. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say Jeff Bezos.
Exactly.
Who got a 451 million tax return.
Or, well, I was going to say some political figure, but we're not going to go into that.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't want to get into that heated covfefe moment.
But, there are people, let's start with the corporations and the billionaires who don't pay anything in taxes. Let's start there, and then we'll work our way down. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, there are many different programs I feel like we could slash, like the military. We do not need to be spending trillions of dollars into the military when we can be using that for education.
Yeah. I
think education is also suffering in this country. Not much is put into it.
Totally. I mean, gosh, these are our future that we're shaping, and to gyp. I mean, I've heard, like in Alabama, you've got teachers that don't make enough to make ends meet that have to be on the welfare system, and that's sad.
It really is. They shouldn't have to fork up the money to do what they love to do, which is to teach.
Yeah, and a lot of these teachers already work in poor school districts, so they see the children that they come in and they don't have what they need, so they take money out of their own purse, and one of them, she provides toothbrushes and just basic hygiene things that these kids, that way when they come, they can feel like, they're ready and they're put together for the day. But I mean, who decided that a stockbroker is more worthy? I mean, to make, six figures, and a teacher is barely scraping by.
Yeah.
On, $23,000 a year.
And that's why we have to get into the mindset of this is an investment into generations to come, into our future. You get people who say, like, oh, well, my taxes are going to rise, and we're going to see, like, this money just, we're not going to get any money for ourselves to, just to basically live. No, the taxes, you'll see them rise, because, taxes will have to rise to cover these types of programs, but you have to look at it this way. It's an investment in you being able to get the type of degree that you've always wanted to get, to buy that car that you always wanted, to
buy a home,
or even just to, like I said, to go back to that childcare. If you have kids, to be able to afford childcare,
decent childcare too, and not just a lady on Craigslist.
This can go even into the whole free education. So basically, going back to having tuition-free college. That's something that I think I am a big fighter for, is making sure that college is accessible to everybody. I don't think that higher education should be a privilege. I think we all should.
It's a right.
I think everyone has the right to be educated and to have that degree to get the job that they want. So that way they're not working at, like, McDonald's.
When we lived in the UK, your brother got sick, and we were able to...
we did live in the UK.
We didn't have a car, so the black cab came for free to pick up, because I called the hospital and said that I had to go, and my son was sick. So they called the black cab to my home, picked us up, because you were little too, so you came with us, went and got, seen, and then he got treated, and then we were given a slip to take to the chemist, not the pharmacist, the chemist. But when we were leaving, it's like there's no I saw that there was a cashier, but the cashier was there to reimburse you if you had to pay anything for the cab. I said, no, I didn't have to pay anything. So they said, well, do you need any cab fare home? No, the hospital is paying for because
basically there were checks and balances, and you didn't have to pay close to nothing out of pocket. And I think even
and the school was free for you. And if we would have stayed there longer, you could have gotten to Eton. You could have gotten to Oxford for free. You could have gotten to to whatever university for free, because and before y'all
they invest in their education system.
Yeah, because to them it's very simple. Everybody has a right to a free education. Everybody has a right to for basic health care.
We're in this mindset of privatizing everything. Here's the thing. I think there's nothing wrong with capitalism. I think it's great. I think I want to be able to choose where I buy my toothpaste. I want to be able to choose what T-shirt I want to wear. Oh, I love this company. I want to promote that company. I think when it comes to material luxury things, yeah, I want to buy a Toshiba instead of a Sony.
Yeah.
Where I think I lean more.
Capitalism has no places.
Yeah, is in education. You shouldn't be privatizing school for what? I think it shouldn't be in the healthcare industry or the pharmaceutical industry.
Shameless.
It's terrible. I think that we have people who have diabetes, something they never even asked, because sometimes it's genetic. Or sorry.
Yeah, so it's genetic.
Some people are born with certain illnesses that they didn't ask for, that they have to get medication, and then this medication is marked up $600, and they don't have health insurance.
So now they have to choose if they want to live a long life or not. So it's like, okay, if I don't buy any medication, I can have a good 20, 30 years.
Yeah, so I think it's messed up that we have people who are corporations that will charge $600 for a pill. And sure, if you have the medical insurance, that pill may be like $3. But if you don't have medical insurance, which is a lot of people, you have to pay. Yeah, you have to pay that $30 or that $40 per pill. Sometimes even. Yeah,
well, I know for a fact because I was, a product of a socialized medical, economy, and I know that over there, and like I said, I have firsthand knowledge. Doctors are actually rewarded and given bonuses for how many healthy patients they have.
Yeah.
And here they're given bonuses for how many how many rejections they can, they can that's a non-qualifying event for your insurance, and how many people they turn away.
Yeah.
Or how many medicines they write.
Can push.
Yeah, they can push.
Which is basically incentivizing a certain pharmaceutical company who's like, oh, make sure that we give them this medication that we recommend.
Yep. And you got to determine them, they got to have these illnesses so that you can keep pushing these meds so you can get that bonus at the end of the year.
That's not to say that doctors are like they're scheming or they're being. That's just the environment that they're pushed into or that they're in.
Whether they want to go along with it, willingly or not.
And even if they wanted to fight against the system, it's so hard because we have that capitalist mentality.
Well, doctors actually graduate with a degree and they're already in debt.
Yeah.
They're in debt. So they have to be put in situations where, I guess I
got to get myself out of debt.
So I guess I'll push those pills, or I'll
reject those people.
Yeah, reject them and make them, not eligible for this to be covered through their HMO or whatever. Thank God I have a PPO. But it's unfortunate. And, it's my opinion. It's not an opinion I'm pushing, but this is what this conversation is because...
And it's always open for dialogue, too.
Yeah, because people are so used to being fed, this minutia.
Yeah.
And this is just what I think. Coming from... I was a single mother with 2 boys to raise. And I never sat around the house, eating bonbons and living off of welfare. I worked. And I always worked hard to provide for my kids. But
even I think the very few times that you did maybe have to rely on the system, it was for the shortest stint because you used it for what it was for.
As a springboard to
get you back up. Because like you said, you did do it by yourself. You raised us without a nuclear family. It wasn't like a nuclear family. You didn't have that father figure. It was just basically us 3. So you utilized it, but then again...
And it wasn't my fault that I was divorced. It wasn't. I was just a product of a battered household. But it was designed to... it worked for me the way it was intended to work.
We don't even have maternity leave.
No, a few of my friends in Paris, a few of my friends, in France, I don't know if they still, this was the case back when, and I think that you got a nanny for a year, state paid, and... You
got a whole, I think you even got a year or 2 off, maybe?
I think now it's down to it's 10 months or 8
which
to
is
10
still
months.
more than here.
And if both of y'all want to take it, then it's split between both of the husband and the wife. Or if it's just the wife and the husband goes to work, that's fine. But also another thing, if somebody, let's say I come into work and I'm like, oh, I'm just not vibing with, I'm just like, I'm in a slump.
Yeah.
I would go to my my GP, my general practitioner, and I would say, hey, I'm not doing too good. What's wrong? I don't know. I'm kind of depressed. I'm in this funk. And then it's like, okay, so then he would write me a prescription to take to my equivalent to the HR department at my work and say, I'm prescribing her 6 weeks off.
Yeah.
And then they would hold my job and give me 6 weeks off with pay.
Yeah.
For me to hit the beach, to find myself,
But see, the thing is, people are like, oh, well, you're just wasting time and you're wasting everyone and you're being lazy. No, sometimes that's what it takes. Like, sometimes you just need time to heal yourself, to reset, because you can get burnout from work. I think that's a lot. I think Japan is a company... No, a country. I'm sorry. Is a country that does do like mandatory, like, what do they call it? Nap times? Or you get like, if it's not, and I could be wrong, correct me. But I'm just, for some reason, Japan's coming to mind, but it could be other European.
Japan is actually known for having really overworked people.
Yeah, and I think that's why some of these countries, they do have like those mandatory like nap times or these set periods where you can basically just reset and just remove yourself from work.
Well, Sweden has...
Here you're lucky if you get 15 minutes for a break.
Sweden has a 6-hour workday.
Yes.
Because they believe in work-life balance.
Maybe it is Sweden I'm thinking of.
It's Sweden, and what they do is they have mandatory fika breaks. And over there, a fika is when you take basically a coffee break, or you don't have to have coffee. You can have a juice and a small
Not fika.
Yeah, fika. They call it fika.
Isn't fika a plant?
It's a ficus.
Oh, fika.
Fika. So you can have a little nosh, like a little croissant, or a sandwich, a finger sandwich, and have it, and just take that time to chill with your friends and just talk, because they believe that a happier, person is a more productive person. And so,
over here, it's like, no, you got to make your quotas. You have to make that profit, and so you work your workers into
the ground.
Yeah, and that's why you hear a lot of people over in the U.S. like, oh, like, thank God it's Friday. Oh my gosh, the work week was so horrible. Or like, man, work was tough. It's always like, work is tough. When it should be work is fun. Work is where you go to, like, it's just an extension of your life.
It is. It's a happy place. I mean, there's some, you have to love what you do too. I mean, and it's also,
But see, you would love what you do if we had people who had access to be able to get the degrees that they want, and weren't 40,000 plus in debt.
And they had a UBI that didn't come with strings attached, so that they can go to work but still, take night classes or take online courses.
Not have the stress of the unknown. Like,
it's oh my gosh, I have to work like 10 hours of overtime this month so I can, make that. I had to fix my car, or I had to buy tires.
Something came up and I have to make a repair.
And so
you'll get people who say, well, then why don't you move to those countries? Why don't you move to Sweden? Why don't you move to Japan? Why don't you move to... But that's not the case. That's not the case. The thing is, we need to make our quality of life better here. We need to help our country here.
And look at how it's working somewhere else.
You see the studies that come out. Quality of life in these overseas countries, in these first world countries, is better. People are happy because they have access to those social programs that are just that are just innate. It's like it's part of their culture.
But you hear the nasty word socialism, but it's not. We're not socialist. Like you said, certain things like healthcare and education should be socialized.
Yes.
Not, capitalism has its place.
Has its place in the market. There's always a place for an open market for your luxury things that you love to indulge in. Like I said, picking out your TV, picking out what toothbrush you want to purchase. A video game. There is a way for capitalism to survive and still have socialism a part of the economy. So yeah, these are just my personal beliefs.
And they're my personal beliefs, and they're not, we're not pushing them onto anybody, but
we just want to talk about.
We want to talk about it and open up that dialogue, because a lot of people do think that,
they instantly hear socialism. Oh, and they cut their.
Oh, you want to go live in Russia? No, that's actually, first of all, that's a communist country.
Well, that's a dictatorship too, as well.
Yes, exactly. No, I don't. I just feel that we have these rights that we're being made to pay for.
And people, like you said, teachers who don't have the pay that they deserve, the respect that they deserve.
I think it's more important. Their job is more important than a fat cat on Wall Street. Making that cheddar so that he can buy another yacht. And So
Jeff Bezos.
He's okay. I like to shop on Amazon. I'm a Prime member.
Yeah, but then again, you have to admit there's a monopoly. Amazon is a monopoly.
It is a monopoly.
And so
it's a legal monopoly.
We enjoy the luxuries of shopping on Amazon.
But that's capitalism for you, and it's our right if we do want to.
Yes.
It's a love-hate relationship.
I just hate that the person who runs the business isn't paying his fair share.
Exactly. He needs to pay his fair. And speaking of that, whenever some kind of natural disaster or event happens, and you have all these rich celebrity people coming out and making these public service announcements, and please to everybody, if you can send $1, it's like, dude, send
your own dollar.
All of y'all celebrities that spend ridiculous amounts of money, like $500,000 on a guitar, you can take that $500,000 amongst you and all your little rich friends, and why don't you donate that? And it's a tax credit.
You know what I just realized? These companies, even Ulta Beauty or Amazon, they'll do these charity things. I think recently Amazon had asked me would you like to donate a portion of what you're going to buy towards a charity that you like? And so on the surface, you're like, oh my God, yeah, that's great. I would love to just put $1 towards
Amazon Smile.
Yeah. And so, but see, when I think about it, I'm like, but wait a minute, that's not Amazon giving their money to a charity. That's basically they're getting their customers to donate, and then they're saying, look for this Amazon donated X amount of dollars to this charity, and it's like, but that was your customers who you asked to, hey, did you want to donate this $1? And actually, Ulta Beauty did something like that, where it was for a cancer charity. And we were supposed to tell our customers, hey, would you like to donate X amount of dollars to this charity? And
this is just a little side hustle you have.
Yeah, a little side. I love Ulta. I work there and I love it. It's just something I've noticed. And I was like, wait, what? So yeah, they had us do this charity thing. We pushed the dollars on customers if they wanted to donate, which perfect, great. If they want to donate, the customers yeah, they can do that. But then later on, I saw that Ulta announced in their, this is for the employees, the newsletter.
The newsletter, yes.
It was Ulta raised X amount of dollars for this charity. And I was like, wait a minute, Ulta didn't do that. The customers did.
Actually, I was asking the customers. I was pushing that.
So unless the company is explicitly saying, we will match X amount of dollars with whatever is donated, then okay, it's then I guess you can say that you did.
Or Ulta and its patrons raise this money.
So yeah, it's going back to what you said about how these companies
and these celebrities too that are poor mouth.
They're asking the people, their followers or their customers to donate to these issues or disasters that happen, when it's no, you're a corporation, you have billions of dollars, why don't you donate something towards that?
Or you, Mr. Rapper, singer, movie star, director, and writer, all of y'all each donate $1 million, which you're going to have your accountant write it off as a tax write-off.
Exactly.
And donate $1 million, and maybe y'all can actually do something that causes change. That's productive. So anyway, that is our
little spiel for the moment.
A little spiel. It's not a rant. Well, it kind of
it's like what you said. It's kind of a rant, but it's also kind of open dialogue to allow to get the concept out there, to get the dialogue open.
Well, I also wanted people to think that we're not goofy, that we actually have real thoughts, because sometimes we're, this is a little bit of a different twist on how, the last few episodes have been. But, I mean, we do have, I think that everybody has something important to say, and everybody's opinions matter, but they are just that. They're opinions. So I'm not you're not the expert. I'm not a certified public accountant. I'm certainly not a doctor or a teacher. But you know what? I'm a person that has my ear on the
heartbeat.
pulse.
Yeah, on the pulse.
On the pulse. And so I think I am cognizant and know a little bit about
but then
what's
also,
going on.
but like you said, you have experience with certain issues, with certain programs that you utilized yourself, and so you take that experience and then you apply it to things that you've experienced here as well in the U.S.
Well, Michael Moore said this on Sicko when he was talking about the socialized medicine and stuff, and he said, consider the source of who's telling you it is a bad thing. Consider who's telling you it's a bad thing. Your own government.
Yeah.
Politicians
are telling
you, but have you lived in Europe like we have? Have you experienced socialized medicine?
Like we
Do
have.
you know it's not communism. It's socialism
where it needs to be applied.
Where it needs to be applied. Because capitalism has no place when it comes to our health.
In certain sectors.
And when it comes to our education. And when it comes to our educators. So that's my take on it. And a bunch of y'all might, be upset, but opinions are like assholes. Somebody said everybody has one, and and it's my opinion and it's my podcast, so I get to dictate.
But also make your own podcast.
Yeah,
that way you can share your ideas too.
Yeah, you can share your ideas.
That's capitalism right there.
Exactly.
We all have the ability to make our own podcast.
Yeah. So anyway, it's going to be a little short one today, but that's what we wanted to talk about. And as always, our contact information, our contact information is in the show notes. And
didn't we just have an episode talking about grammar?
About what?
About improper grammar.
Oh God!
And
about every generation creates its little So that's my word of the day. Information. It's like, and it's not cultural. It's just.
It's a slip of the tongue.
It's a slip of the tongue, but it kind of sounds cool. So anyway, until next time, people, I hope you've enjoyed it. Like I said, you can always contact us at mishmoshsoup214@gmail.com. You can always follow Franklin on
The Classy Queer on Instagram, all one word. For any beauty-related tips, beauty content, inspiration, fashion, things like that.
Yeah, but until next time, keep it random, randos, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.